Sponsored by DraftKings. Play free your shot at the $1 million top prize during week 1 only on DraftKings. You know what time it is. Time for 4 things. First, Nick, you got a ballot blunder.
Yes.
All right, listen, folks. People think I'm joking about needing a ballot. I appreciate the actual official NBA voters proving me correct every time one of these awards come out. Nobody loves Luka Doncic more than me. And I'm using this word correctly, he is literally my large adult Slovenian son. But someone voted him to the all-defensive team. He is, if he were even a passable defensive player, he might be the best guy in the league already. Someone voted him to the second team. Someone voted Dame I think voted Luka to the first team and Dame to the second team. Whoever that is, Adam Silver, I'm calling on you specifically. Revoke their vote, give it to me. Are these like these awards are too important to have people who clearly don't watch games voting on them. Luka on an all-defensive team along with Dame is total insanity.
I vote for you
All
to
right,
vote.
moving on. He makes a point. Brandon, Tyler Hero's dime.
Oh, too much talk about the Bucks this morning, rightfully so. But let's talk about the Heat and their hero, Tyler Hero. Look at this dime. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. I want to talk about this kid because I think he has huge upside. I was one of the people in South Florida when the Heat picked him. I was like, who is this kid? Where is he coming from? But here he is. He's from Wisconsin. Wisconsin, hometown kid beating his hometown team. Tyler Hero with the dime.
All right, Wilds, a little pass off the glass from the beard.
All right, so this officially went down as a shot. But when you look at the replay, Harden thinks he's fouled and he makes a decision to pass it himself off the glass. In the scorecard, he took 2 shots here. It's wrong. So 3 things need to be remedied. 1, this needs to be called a pass. 2, end of quarters or end of games, really end of games, when you get a turnover for running out the clock, that should not be a stat anymore. Stop it, because it makes all these awkward things. You got to pass the ball to the rookie. The poor rookie gets the turnover and not you. And third, let's not count heaves as 3-pointers. It's the worst. We get all these statistics like, wow, Ben Simmons has taken 12 threes in his career. Like, not really. He's just chucking the ball. And that's why I don't think Russ took a heave the other day after this play because he didn't want it on a stat sheet. So those are the 3 statistical things that need to be fixed. After you do that, give Nick Wright a vote.
So many gripes, Wilds. Little block party. I'm sticking with the same game for mine. LeBron James, the chase down block right here from James Harden. Year 17, age 35, to go along with his 36 points last night. Imagine if this happened at the Staples Center. Such an amazing play, and it reminded me, you guys remember that iconic shot? It was like 1992 in a game. It was more of a scrimmage. It was actually more of a practice, and it wasn't basketball. It was actually that famous volleyball shot. This LeBron James block reminds me of, look at it. Take it in. Marinate.
He had this.
Jenna Wolf, 1992, with that tremendous volleyball
92?
block.
I love
it was at the end of practice. It was like the end of practice. We were getting ready to go. But anyway, it was super important. It might have been one of the most important things that happened to me in high school.
I love it.
I thought I would. And just watching that LeBron James shot reminded me of it.
I love the hair.
When you got hops like that, Brandon, the hair does that thing. Speaking of great athletes, DeAndre Hopkins signing a 2-year, $54 million extension with the Cardinals. Big news out of the NFL yesterday. That keeps him in Arizona for the next 5 years. If you crunch the numbers, it averages out to $18.8 million per season. Nuke posting a celebratory picture on the gram after the deal. So, Brandon, I know your bar for wide receivers is about as high as bars go, but is DeAndre Hopkins, in your opinion, the best wide receiver in the NFL?
This is hard. You know, over the last 13, 14 years when we had these discussions, you got to look at, situations. There's so much to this, to the success of a wide receiver. We are the one position on the field where our success is in the hands of so many others. Play caller, offensive coordinator, quarterback, offensive line. So when you look at like who is who and ranking these guys, it's almost impossible. So this is how I've, put together my list. All right. And there's a lot of guys out there that is more than capable of being in the top 3, the top 5. I want to show you a graphic because I don't want to be walking the streets and these guys get mad at me. Mike Evans is a guy that can easily be number 1 if everything was equal. You got Odell Beckham Jr. You have Devontae Adams. You have even Adam Thielen. I mean, these guys can easily go for 1,500, 1,600 yards if everything was equal. But let's bring it back to the question. Let me answer that for you. Who do I believe is number 1? And how do I look at it? When the game is on the line, can you beat 1-on-1? Can you beat man on man? That's what I look at. And there's 3 guys that's at the top of my list. DeAndre Hopkins. That's Mike T down in New Orleans. Okay? And that's also Julio Jones. So if I had to pick one guy, I'm going with Julio Jones because Julio Jones, he have this unique skill set, size, speed. I mean, he make the tough play in the clutch. So for that reason, I got to go with him. But I've said DeAndre's been the number 1 receiver for the last couple years. But if I'm starting the team right now, I'm going with Julio Jones. But it's hard, Nick. It's really hard to pick.
It's almost impossible to pick. Here is the best case you can make for DeAndre. He is one of the only receivers in the league, and in this way, Brandon, he reminds me of you, where his production is independent of the play at quarterback. So can we just show 2 years from DeAndre Hopkins? They are startlingly similar. The 2015 season and the 2018 season. He has, look at those numbers. Those are almost carbon copy years. The difference is this. In 2015, his quarterbacks were Brian Hoyer, Ryan Mallett, TJ Yates, and Brandon Weeden. Those were his quarterbacks in 2015.
Ryan Mallett?
In 2018, it was 4 games of Ryan Mallett. In 2018, it was Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
And so as great as Julio is, Jenna, the argument for DeAndre would be Julio's been matched up with Matt Ryan his whole time. DeAndre was a first-team All-Pro caliber season when Ryan Mallett and TJ Yates were throwing him passes, and he was a first-team All-Pro caliber receiver when the great Deshaun Watson was throwing him passes. So I think I agree with Brandon. It's incredibly hard to pick one, but that is a feather he has in his cap that Mike Thomas, who's played with Drew Brees his whole career, and Julio Jones, who's played with Matt Ryan his whole career, Jenna, do not have.
So, Nick, let me ask you, 2 years, $54 million. Did the money in this deal surprise you at all?
Well, the way it was reported surprised me. I mean, Brandon, this is a little, finagling of the media, if you will, or manipulation of the media. He's not getting $27 million a year because he had 3 years and 40 left on his deal. So you've got to look at it as 5 years, $94 million. So as Jenna crunched the numbers before the show, just under $19 million per year, which is right in line with all of the top receivers in football. So, yeah, Brandon, $27 million a year would have been an exorbitant sum, but when you're just tacking it on to an undervalued deal that has 3 years left, it honestly reminded me, if I'm correct, of what happened with you. When you went from Chicago to the Jets traded for you, but they knew your contract was a little too cheap for a man of your stature, and so as soon as you got there, they reworked it. So that's to me what was going on here, and we knew this was going to happen once they made the trade.
No.